Okay, this is going to be the last video for this semester. So, yay! Let's get going. So, we're going to learn about verbals in this video. So, the first question would be, what is a verbal? And in essence, a verbal is a verb word, that is, it is an action word, but it is not the main verb in the sentence. It acts as another part of speech. So, in other words, it's not the main verb, but it is a verb word that acts as another part of speech. So you need to know that there are three types of verbals. There are participles, and what these are these are verb words that act as adjectives in the sentence. And so an example would be, running water is a soothing sound. And so if we were going to classify this sentence, we would say, what is a soothing sound? And the answer would be water. And we would say, what is being said about water? And the answer would be is. So is our main verb in this sentence. But if we were to look at this sentence and we were to ask ourselves, what is the other verb word? What is an action word in this sentence? The action word would be running. And in this sentence, it is describing the water. What kind of water? Running water. And so therefore, running in this sentence is a participle. The other type of verbal that there is called a gerund, and a gerund is a verb word that acts as a noun. And so an example would be, running is great exercise. So again, if we were going to classify this sentence, we would say, what is great exercise? And the answer is running. So in this sentence, running is the subject of the sentence. In fact, it's the subject noun of the sentence, but it's also a gerund. It is the verb word, it's the action word that's acting as the noun. And then the third type of verbal is called an infinitive. And an infinitive is very easy to recognize because it has the word to directly in front of the verb word. So an example would be, to run for president is a lofty goal. What is a lofty goal? To run. So in this instance, the infinitive is acting as a noun. Infinitives can act as a variety of different kinds of speech. What you need to know for the test, however, is that the infinitive is the word to plus the verb word. Now you need to be cautious because to, as you remember, is also a preposition. And so you're going to have to be careful in determining whether to in the sentence is being used as a preposition or whether to is being used as part of the infinitive. Now, a rule of grammar that you need to know for your writing, but that will help you greatly on this part of the test, is that you should never, ever split an infinitive. If you're using an infinitive, it should always be the word to, and then the very next word should always be the verb word. So an example would be, a correct example that is, would be, I need to go quickly to the store. To go is the infinitive, and so you have the word to, and the very next word is the action word go. The incorrect way to state this is, I need to quickly go to the store. That is called a split infinitive. You have taken to and go and you've split it up by putting an adverb in between. So really you should never ever write that way. I guarantee on the test I will never write that way. And so it'll be very easy to recognize an infinitive. It's the word to and the very next word is an action word. So let's look at some examples here. So the first example I'm going to give you is, the driving rain made it difficult to see. And so on this part of the test, it is a three-step process. So step number one is you're going to underline the main verb. And so in this particular sentence, you would kind of ask yourself the question, what made it difficult to see? Rain. So that's your subject. What is being said about rain? Rain made. And so made is our main verb in the sentence, and you would underline that on the test. Okay, step number two is to look to see what is the other verb word in the sentence. What is the other action word beside made in the sentence? And in this sentence, you would discover that driving is the other action word, and so you would circle the word driving. And then step number three is you need to indicate what type of verbal is driving. Is it a gerund? That is it naming something? Or is it a participle? Is it describing something? And in this particular sentence, driving is describing the rain. What kind of rain? Driving rain. And so therefore driving in this sentence would be a participle. Let's do another example. So we have the example, I love to go Christmas shopping. Okay, so again, we're going to identify what is the main verb of the sentence. So if we were to classify the sentence, we would say, who loved to go Christmas shopping? I. What is being said about I? I love. So we know that love is the main verb, so we're going to underline that one. Then step number 2 is we need to identify what is the other verb word in that sentence. And in this sentence, we see that go is the verb word, but really it's to go. You have that to right in front of the main verb, or right in front of the verb word, I should say. And so to go is going to be the other verb word, so you're going to circle both those words. And then step number 3 is to identify what type of verbal is to go. And in this sentence, it's fairly easy because you have the little word to right before the verb, and so you know that to go is actually an infinitive. So let's try one more. And in this example, we'll say cutting with scissors can be dangerous for toddlers. So again, we're going to identify the main verb in the sentence. And so if we were to classify the sentence, we would say what can be dangerous for toddlers, and the answer would be cutting. What is being said about cutting? Cutting can be. Okay, so can be is going to be our main verb phrase. Then step number 2 is to circle the other verb word, and the other verb word is cutting. And in classifying the sentence, you identified cutting as being the subject noun. And so that makes it fairly easy to determine that if cutting is the subject noun, cutting, the other verb word, is acting as a noun, and so therefore it is a gerund. So that is all there is to know about verbals. It's quite a bit, but you will have lots of exercises in the workbook to do to help you prepare for the final exam. But like I said, this is the very last grammar video, so congratulations. We are at the end of the finish line. Couple of more days of studying, and this entire class will be over, and I know that all of you will do great and will pass at that 80% proficiency level.